The fact that you got the private chat on the side.
Um, Welcome to American Dream Life. How to grow your beliefs and instead of retaining your heritage in today's world, we upgrading that to become a united human being. And I will explain what why I decided to upgrade that. Well, we are living in an interesting time, and American Dream is actually about the United States most of the time, and there are definitely a lot of issues arising right now, and the need to create more unity as for ourselves and for our communities, as well as I thought that retaining your heritage is kind of living in the past. The cultures that's and kind of old beliefs that's what kind of start getting us in trouble and kind of almost preventing us to be more united and grow our beliefs. And so that's the reason for update on the tagline. And today with me, without further ado, is amazing Dr. Joe Blake, a best-selling author, and we will have a discussion around it before we go deeper into the subject. Let's start with sharing some more about you and what amazing thing you're creating and who you are as a human being.
Okay. What did I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, in the inner city there. Uh, Most of my family is still in Baltimore. I'm one of the only ones out west. I think I have a cousin that's in California. That's on my mother's side is going to college, and then I have another cousin that lives that's in California as well. And on my father's side, um, I got out here because of the military. I joined the Air Force. I was in the Air Force for 13 years. Um, and I have been married for 22 years. We have a blended family of four adult children. My three children are military minded. They did the same thing following dad. And then my other daughter, Jessica's the oldest. Um, she's and all of our children, all four have a master's, PhD. My wife has a bachelor's, and we have five grandchildren. And my family is diverse. I have African American grandchildren, I have Latino grandchildren, and I have Asian grandchildren. So there can be there's no isms in my family because I have to embrace all walks of life because it's my family's diverse. So um, when it comes to a united human being, that's it. You know, everything's in my family. I can't have that.
That's
So
really, yes, thank
yeah,
you so
so
much, especially for your service to this country. That's really appreciated and grateful for your
yeah,
service, your kids' service, and as a human being. And I love it what I'm hearing about that you embracing that diversity, and that's what's all about to create that unity. When we embrace, the key word is embracing the diversity. It not many times with the different races, with the different nationalities. The big thing is if it's not my way, it's wrong. So that's why that word keyword embracing, it doesn't mean that if somebody is a different color skin or a different nationality they are wrong. They just have a different point of view, they have different belief systems, they have different background upbringing, and it doesn't make them wrong. It actually just different perspective, and start embracing that in our lives is so necessary, because it's not just to create that unity, but actually growing as a human being when we have inherited more kind of perspectives in our life and different point of views. And so, what do you think about that?
no, that's true. You have to be open to that, and I think that we all have our own perspective, and what we bring in is it's is different, and you can embrace it and understand it and kind of somewhat enjoy it. For me, the military brought all those aspects together because there's in the military there's different. I mean, every walks of life in the military, and we live together and we play together. And in the Air Force, I was a military firefighter, and so in firefighting, um, you didn't care who the other guy, what the other guy looked like. It was like, hey, we're going in this fire together, and we're coming out together, and it didn't matter what you look like. Them, this is because our lives depended on each other going into this fire, and we're going to go. Our life depended on each other successfully get into this building. Rescuing whoever was in there. And again, it didn't matter who was a victim in there. We were going to go in and get the victim and bring them out. So we had that in a mindset, and I think my first base I was stationed was at Andrews Air Force Base in DC, and this was back in 1984, 87 when I was stationed there. And my three best buddies was Mario the Predator and Daniel Rivera. And Mario's from Yonkers, New York, and Daniel was from Bayamon, Puerto Rico, and me. So it was an Italian guy, African American guy, and a Puerto Rican guy. And some people think that's a butt end of a joke, but no, it was three of us, us three guys, and we used to hang together real tight. And we used to go everywhere. And even though we were three different ethnic backgrounds, three different racial backgrounds, we hung together. We were buds. And to this day, Mario and I found Mario, and Mario's on Facebook. We're still looking for Rivera. Haven't found him yet, but we stuck together. And Mario and I, we talk on Facebook now. We still stick together. But that diversity, and didn't matter that we were from different backgrounds. We would still remain friends.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes people don't. I don't know. They don't embrace that. And I guess the military is a little different, where you can be in an environment like that and embrace it.
I believe so. You kind of were in that environment of military and firefighter when there was no time to create the commotions, but to really be focused on the mission to save whoever was in danger, and creating that unity and teamwork to provide to bring that to the safety. I think that whoever kind of have a problem, I think embracing it's kind of acting, I believe, out of fear. And that was that kind of retaining heritage, what I was trying to create with my summit, that they shouldn't be actually afraid of embracing others, because the fear is coming from, if I become somebody else, if I upgrade my belief systems, I kind of lose my heritage, and who I am will become. That fear of unknown, of who I create, who I become as a human being, how that will look like. I think preventing a lot of human beings in actually embracing different cultures. They feel that I don't know, they feel possibly some guilt, that they kind of abandoning their roots or their ancestors. I'm not asking just forget about it. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before the military, I didn't have those thoughts. Before the military, I wasn't able to embrace it. It was like us. Before that, it was like us against them. It was like the man was taken from us. Everything that we had or didn't or wanted to get, because I wasn't in the city, and a lot of folks that where I was at, we didn't have a lot of things, and the environment and where we lived wasn't the greatest. And if everywhere I lived, everything was black. The teachers were mostly African Americans, and if they weren't African American, they were white, and they had nice cars, they had nice clothes, and it was, everything they had was nice. And then they would leave they come there to teach and everything, but they didn't live in the environment that we lived in. And I was a kid, and I saw a lot of violent things when I was a kid. People shot, stabbed, beat with a bat, and things like that. But they left. But I lived there. But all the other good people, they left out. And so I just had this feeling that no one cared, and that nothing was available for me in that place. And so I had this resentment about the greater world out there. And I just thought where I was in Baltimore, I thought that was like every place else in the world. So I was like, man, that's just jacked up for me and the people that look like me, because I thought that's just how the world was. And it wasn't until I left that environment and I seen what else was out there that I said, man, this is a big old world out there. And I was exposed to something. But sometimes as people are in that environment, they embrace that environment. And sometimes no matter where they go, they live that way wherever they are. And they don't let anyone else in their little cocoon. And they don't get out of their cocoon because they carry that way of being no matter where they are. And
Definitely. Thank you so much for bringing that point, the environment. It's so important. There's some sayings, your environment, just look who you kind of hanging around, like the 5 people you hanging around, and what kind of environment it becomes for you, Is it a right environment? Kind of don't be afraid to question that. And if you're not feeling well in that environment, to update that environment so you come from more love, joy, and peace, and instead of a constant resentment, constant frustration. So speaking of that resentment, frustration, what you had mentioned actually that you decided to go out there and explore the world and realize that you don't have to be in that environment, that there is a lot of possibilities for you up there to create some amazing life. Was there some kind of pivotal moment for you in your journey that kind of trigger, like, I don't know, more resentment or more anger, or you just had enough and like, no, I'm just moving out?
well, it wasn't really anger that caused me to leave out. I thought to myself when I was in high school, I said, I need to go somewhere. Inside of me said I need to go somewhere, because I wasn't a bad kid, but I just knew if I stayed here, something could go bad. Because in Baltimore, when I was a kid, and it's probably still that way now, if you were the age 18 and you were still alive, the chances of you getting shot or killed were greater. And I said, well, man, if I stay here, I'm either going to end up, being involved in the drug thing or be killed by drugs. So because of it, I was going to sell it or I'm going to hurt somebody because somebody was selling drugs to somebody I knew. So I said, I'm going to have to like get out of here and make something different. And I had to, and so I said, you know what, let me go. I had some uncles that were in the Marines, but them dudes were weird, man. I was like, weird as in the sense of they were strong-willed, and I was like, okay, that's a little bit too strong for me. And I didn't like green, the Army green, the name bag's too big. I couldn't swim, so I didn't want to do Navy. So then I had a cousin that was in the Air Force, and blue was my favorite color. That was the only reason why I was joining the Air Force. And that was my reasoning for joining the Air Force.
Hello, whoever joined us.
That's the only reason why I was joining the Air Force, because I like blue. And my cousin was in. That was the rationale that I put in. So I said, okay, at least if I join the Air Force, if there's any type of school or scholarship money, then get. And then, because in my mind, man, I said, I'm never going to school. I'm done with schooling. People go to school, it's just a bunch of frauds anyway. I ain't going to school. Yeah. And never mind a PhD later.
Who told you that anybody going to school is a fraud?
Me.
That was you or somebody else.
They think they know everything. People go to school, anything else. So, yeah, me, a PhD later, I know.
Yeah. Now, speaking of school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on and share some more about your journey after you retire and from the military and the fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so after I got out the Air Force, I um, I got into finance. I got into finance right towards the end of my military career, and I started working with a company. And while I was in the Air Force, I got to a point where I was like, I got tired of being broke. You know, a lot of us kind of get to that point right there. And while I was in the Air Force, I took this one course called on personal finance when I was stationed in Acre Air Force Base in Arkansas. And in that course, I learned about buying term and invest the difference. It was a course in Arkansas that I learned about. And when I left Arkansas and I got here to Luke, and that's my last 4 years in the Air Force at Luke, then I found a company here that I don't want to mention the company's name, but I got a managed the company here, and then that's where I got licensed, and I've been dealing with this company for the last 26 years, and that's where I learned, and I got licensed, and I'm licensed in 10 states now.
Wow.
And I guess so I got my investment broker's license, and I started helping families and getting them, buying term and investing difference and some other products and services as well. And then I started going to college right when I got out, and I got my bachelor's degree in business, a bachelor of science in business management. I got my master's in organizational leadership, and then my doctorate is in doctor of management and organizational leadership. And while doing my doctorate, I did my research, and my research is entitled "The Influence of Financial Literacy on Faith-Based Epistemology," and it was a case study on Arizona church members. And so my research was done. I went to three large churches in the valley, and one was Anglo, the other church was African American, and the third church was Latino church. And I stayed at each location for 2 to 3 months, and end up interviewing 30 members, 10 each location for an hour apiece, each individual. I took that information, I did it myself, and I typed it in all the interviews into the software called NVivo. And I came out of that, I developed two decision models. One model was a behavior model, and the other was a decision model. And what I found was that it was the individual's behaviors that was causing them to stay stuck financially. And that's what I outlined in my book. It's called Joseph Building Financial Literacy. And that's the foundation of what I wrote about. And this book is just the first book of a trilogy. There's 2 other books after it that outlines what people need. It's basically is written to Christians, but it's written for everyone, really. And it tells you, what I found out in my research of what caused people to stop financially. And after the military, that's what I've done. And it's like my life work, and it's the beginning of it. And all that from a dude that was from the hood in Baltimore.
Congratulations, the dude from the from the hood. You are an amazing, united human being.
Yeah. And then, this book is dedicated to my mother.
I'm sorry?
I said, the book is dedicated to my mom. Yeah, she's in heaven right now, but it was, her work with me, in me, that pushed me to do. I thank my mother.
Yes, definitely. Be grateful for a strong mother and help you become who you are today. And I know that you're doing that kind of as a reciprocity for your kids.
Yeah. Yeah, my kids I'm proud of my children as well because I did, a lot of things I learned along the way to I do my best to not allow them to face a lot of things that I had faced. I did my best to. Um, my I'll talk in order that they came in my life. My oldest son, when he's 33, and this rodeo, so to speak. So my oldest boy, he's 33. He spent 6 years in the Air Force. He's actually working on his PhD. He's at and I didn't tell him to join the Air Force. He did it on his own. He did 6 years in. He went to Iraq and Afghanistan. Uh, he has his own house. He works as an adjuster for an insurance company right now. He's got his license as well, and he's working. Like I said, he's working on his PhD. He said that I'm your son, Dad. I'm going your route. So I was like, okay. But I didn't tell him to do it. There's something he wants to do. He said, I'm your son. I gotta follow suit. I said, okay, son, do your thing. But I didn't push him. It's something he wants to follow. He wants to pursue and follow behind his dad. And I'm proud of that. I'm like, knock yourself out, son. And I talked to him about education, and there's a little rhyme I used to tell him. It's build your life before you get a wife. You make sure you get your degree, get your education, get your house, and have those things in order before you get started. Because me and his mom, we were married first, and then we started having children. I didn't have everything in order like my man got. He's got his house, he got a car, and he really does. Yeah, I didn't have that.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you are proud father and grandfather, and that's I believe the greatest accomplishment that kids actually want to follow us. That we are setting that beautiful example of the human being as a parent, that they actually follow a leader, and you becoming that kind of leader for them, and not in some kind of resentment. No, I absolutely won't do whatever my parents do, and kind of learning from your mistakes. That's another thing, because many times as a parent we want the kids to not waste that time, and we thought we went through mistakes, let's save them some time, let's help them don't do whatever we did. And guess what? Many times it's end up that they do exactly the same thing. Oh, they have to experience on their own skins before they learn.
He's had his own mistakes, but I tell him, I said, look, you live your own life, man. I mean, that's your life. I'm just here to advise and recommend. Now, this is what happened to Dad. And then I tell him, it's your life, dude. But he'll say, no, Dad, tell me, Dad. And I'll tell him, but my baby boy, the same thing. He's 31. He has a master's degree as well. He's still in the Air Force, but he's looking about retiring, but he's over in Italy. My daughter, she's a captain in the Air Force. I'm sorry, she'll kick my tail. She's a captain in the Army.
Awesome.
And she's still in pursuit of her master's, but she's nearly done. So I just say she has hers, and she has her house. And I told her, you build your life before you become a wife.
Mm.
So that's her, and
Is
28,
she
her own house, captain, making bank, and then Jessica's the oldest. They had their house. And she's what is she? She's a social worker. She has a master's degree in social work. So and she's working towards some type of doctorate too. And so they see us, me and my wife, and they said, look at these fools, look at these young, they all old, they got this degree, they got all this stuff right here. How they doing that? So they look at me and my wife and they said, man, they all old. And we're not really old, but they said, look at they got this. So their idea is like they can't have it. They're looking to beat us, which is okay.
Competition.
Yeah, which is okay because what they get and have, they have theirs. They don't need ours.
Sure, definitely. Yeah. Then you will feel safe. If you need it, you can come ask to them, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, yeah,
That's
go
the other
for
way
it.
around, right? They're constantly providing for your kids, even though when they adults.
Yeah, it's like, go knock yourself out, man. Go do it.
So you're a smart one.
Yeah. And all my clients, say, yeah, let me show you how to make sure you put that stuff away. So when you get older, you'll have your own. And what Dad has, when it's time for me to go be with, go be with my Jesus, you'll have what Dad has too. But you make sure you have your own set aside. You know. But I do all. You talk about being a united human being. You have to. And one of the things my pastor said before, you have to be what you want your children to become. And that's I did that not knowing how, or I just did the best way I could, not knowing how it would work out. But when they were younger, I would have them read the same books I read. They didn't have to read the whole thing. I the how they would just like the parts that I read and write a report on. I don't know how you do it now because books aren't in the library anymore.
I think you found the answer. The intention that you set of to be whoever you want them to become, and they actually took that from you. And you thought you need to kind of get into the doing to back it up, of course, because that's kind of the order we should be going, not from doing and hoping that they become and then having things. So you actually set the intention in the right order to be starting from yourself, so your kids can follow your suit if they choose to, and apparently they are because they felt that they can, and that action steps that you took to in the doing in the when it was coming from that being, it was much easier because like I had mentioned, when it's coming from the doing, there's a lot of creative frustration. I'm just keep doing, I'm trying to teach my kids and hoping that they will become maybe follow my suit, maybe just becoming a good human beings, and all kinds of craziness is happening and frustration is happening and stuff. So yeah, so I applaud you for creating that environment for your family. And even though there were some challenges, and what I want to kind of point, what kind of inspire, if you saw the graphic for our announcement for the broadcast, what somehow called to me was water and some waves on this water, and there's like it's a tiny picture, so maybe it's hard to see. At the bottom there is a surfer, and I added some language also, stay fearless. So it's kind of analogy of life, that life is those kind of like those waves, they coming and going, the challenges, and we like that surfer to going through those waves. And like a surfer, they not always catch the waves, sometimes they fall down and end up in the water. So but they have that deep desire and willingness to stand up again, their passion for that surfing, stand up and catch another wave.
Yeah, there have been some ups and downs in life for myself and my children. One of the biggest things for me was when I had to go through prostate cancer, and I'd explained it to my children, and that was a life-threatening thing for me. I was like, oh my God. I was worried about being here for my kids, and I had to share that with them and everything, and it was just something else. And recently, my daughter had tested positive for COVID, and I was more afraid for her. And she's like, "Dad, if I ain't worried, you ain't worried." And I was like, "Okay, baby." so,
Right. She put you right.
Yeah, she, but she built that up. She, in herself, she said, "I'm good to go, Dad." So, and she ended up testing negative twice, so she's back at work and everything. And both of my sons have things that they're dealt with, and one of my sons dealing with something now. But while they were young, I used to go to, and I still go to church, but I involved them when I went. They went with me. They saw Dad pray, and they saw Dad, involved and engaged in everything, and they went along and they know it. And they call me when they need some prayer or something like that. They call Dad, and Dad, we sit down, we talk about it, and I give them some insight with it and everything. So, and they get some from their mother's side, which my ex-wife, her family is really involved in a lot of prayer and everything too. So that it's in them. But when they need something, Dad, and they got me on the line. And I'm praying for them. So they had that in them. But yeah, life sends you some stuff.
Some ways, definitely. Some of them stronger than the other, huh?
It sends you some stuff. It's like boom, like, oh my, what was that? Just hit me.
To knock you off of the feet. But that's willingness, and that's the great point you just made about the prayer and the God or whatever you believe in, that divine, that we're not alone, that we can ask, and not just in those times when we need, but all the time, living in that gratitude of God and Jesus providing for us as a Christian, and just committing to some time with our faith, not just kind of running our life and hoping I got it, and then the wave coming and oh well. Guess what? It's like a joke, like that. In the divine intervention, I experienced that last year. This year, a little bit. The wave is a little bit, because I'm like, hey, I got smarter. I know that you're testing me, so I will learn some new skills. But I knew, I felt I've been going. I'm Roman Catholic. I've been going to church on Sunday and been praying, but my faith wasn't kind of that deep. It was just okay. I supposed to do. I grew up with it, and it was just like a habit. Not so much kind of getting deeper into it. At this point, I'm actually praying every day. I used to pray, but it's a different kind of on the rosary prayer to divine heart. I don't know how you call it, divine mercy, something like that. I don't know exact translation. It's like a prayer on the rosary around it. So, and I'm praying for actually myself, my family, and all human beings every day.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot just kneel and do that prayer. They have things on YouTube actually with that prayer, that somebody else is saying that prayer, and I just kind of follow the suit for a few minutes. And if I'm driving, I cannot hold the rosary and do that. So
no, you don't want to. Well, if you're driving a Tesla, you can get that done.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. That would be something on my dream board, right? I know if I want a Tesla, honestly. So we have to ride together. So yeah, I know it's smooth ride and kind of fun when you took the hands off the wheel.
Yeah.
And the car's still going, but yeah. I like the color, definitely. Blue is my also favorite color. So definitely. So we're rocking here for 34 minutes. So to wrap it up, at some point, how people can find you? Maybe
they can reach me on my website. Is Blake Media. LLC.com. Yeah, get there, and you can go there. You can get my book there. It is a link on my book on the site that says my book. I also have webinars on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. You can go to webinar, and you can see a video there. I actually won a blue ribbon in a drum contest too at the VA because I'm a vet. You can see a picture of my playing the drums there with two of my buddies there, and then you can also get a little background information about the another little background business that I have is a digital media business. You can read about it there as well. But I'm a pretty easygoing guy, and I like helping people in any way, shape, or form I can. And you know what? I didn't get a chance to mention about you said being a connected human being. Yesterday, I had a call with a young lady from the Philippines, and we're talking about LinkedIn and whatnot, and it was so amazing because she was like me in the Philippines. She did investments in life insurance.
Wow.
And she used to use Starbucks as our office in the Philippines.
Yeah, we spent some time in Starbucks.
Wasn't that interesting? And it's
amazing.
Yeah, she was a Christian.
Wow, awesome.
In the Philippines.
Yeah, you have your other self.
My other self in the Philippines. And she's the only Christian in her entire family.
Wow.
So we are, no matter where we are, you'll find someone like you. And of all the people to call, we're talking about LinkedIn now, another platform. But of all the people to call, she ended up calling me, and we had so much in common. It was just unfunny. It was just funny. But you talk about becoming a united human being. That was a perfect example.
Sure, definitely. I'm still calling American Dream for the concept, American Dream Life, to show the people, because there's a lot of resentment. No, forget it. There's no more American Dream. It's big BS in this country, and the concept was good. It's actually time to really apply the concept, the infinite possibilities, that people, that the mindset that they were coming, the immigrants to this country, with that if they come to America, they will be free. They will experience freedom. They will experience different culture. And many times when they came, they got themselves stuck in their own culture and afraid of moving on. And that's the united human being. And even around the world, we became a global community, and we get to embrace more and more of that. Right now we're trying to close the borders because of the virus, because of some restrictions, trade restrictions, imbalance and stuff. We cannot stop that anymore. The internet, people can find each other like you did with the Philippines.
Yeah.
So we can do whatever, but it cannot be stopped anymore. We will connect with each other because of all the connection that was provided to us with all the media, and people taking advantage finally more and more of that social media, with the connection through internet, through all kinds of applications, because they want to be together, they want to be united, and find that like you had mentioned, you connected on the common areas, and or wow, she's a Filipino across the world, and she experienced similar things I experienced. She went through similar things I went through. I'm like, it's like almost mind blowing.
Yeah, it was. It was just crazy. Her name was Joyce.
Joyce. Wow. Joy. Joy for sure. Definitely. Like you had lots of fun with Joy.
We did. We had a blast.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, somebody else joined. So hello. In StreamYard, you have to give us permission to be seen. Otherwise, we don't see who joined. And so anyhow, so with that, we know about your website, how to reach out. Any final quotes, I don't know, saying, tip for our listeners here?
And embrace our differences. Embrace them. Learn about them. And that's the joy about the United States. You can have those different cultures, you can have those different societies, and just embrace them. And that's what the United States is all about. That's how we are the example to the world. We are the example, and we've always been that way. I mean, it's it's like I said, it's what we show the world how to be.
Definitely. And yeah, thank you so much for saying that. And let's set the right example finally, right?
Please.
Sure, not just BS, American BS,
Yeah.
but the real, what the America is about. And the founding fathers said, like I had mentioned, that's why I'm so somehow really in tune to that American dream, because it's still real. And I know, and when you really kind of coming from that being and that space of possible infinite possibilities and opportunities, you can become a united human being.
Right.
Thank you so much for today. It was definitely a blast. Always, we got to know each other on a different levels, and I really appreciate and enjoy our friendship and creating more awesome experiences together. And thank you so
Okay.
much for your time today.
All right, then we'll
Yeah, take
have a
care.
good one.
You
Bye
too.
bye.